welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a football Q&A. A couple days back on the community tab, I posted something and asked you guys to reply to that post with any questions that you might have for me in regards to the beautiful game. And like always, man, you guys delivered. We got, I think, over 100 responses to that post. So thank you guys so much, everybody who submitted their questions. It means a lot to me. If your question was not featured in today's video, do not be shy. Do not be sad. Do not be discouraged, because I promise I'm going to do multiple parts of this series. I'm going to have the hot take series, that one that we already have going on. We're on part 4, I think. And I'm going to have this series as well going on. I like these videos where you guys kind of interact and give me your input, obviously, because, you know, they're really fun to make. I love talking about football and answering your questions. So yeah, man, I'm super excited for this. A lot of great questions on this post that I saw. I cannot wait to get into this. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see a part 2, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, let's not drag this into one any further. Let's start answering some of your football questions. The first question we have here is, if you weren't a Barcelona fan, which team would you support? This was by far the most asked question that I saw. And this one also has the most likes out of any other question here. It's always kind of hard for me to think about how to answer this question, because it's a weird question in my opinion. I can't picture a universe where I support any other team that's not Barcelona. Barca is such a big part of my personality and my identity. Even in this hypothetical situation, I just find it kind of weird. I don't know, like thinking about supporting another team. But if I had to answer this question, which I'm gonna because I'm not a pussy, I would say this. It wouldn't be any team in La Liga. It would not be Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid. That's fucking gross. It would not be a team in Serie A. It would not be a team in Bundesliga or Ligue 1. It would be a team in the Prem. And I know this may sound crazy, but honestly, I think it would be Liverpool. And people are going to say, bro, Liverpool, what the fuck? They beat Barca that one game 4-0 at Anfield. You must hate them for that. And I do hate Liverpool for that specific game. But at the same time, my anger towards Liverpool for that game is misdirected anger that I should have for Barcelona. Liverpool did nothing wrong on that day. They didn't rob us. They weren't playing dirty. They just went out and took advantage of a team that literally quit on the pitch. That's what happened to Barca in 2019. They quit on the pitch on that day, and Liverpool did what they were supposed to do. So again, I have anger towards Liverpool for that day, but it's not valid anger in my opinion. At least I'm just an emotional fan. But I think when it comes to Liverpool, the reason why I'm saying them is because I like their integrity as a club. Is that the right word? I just like their infrastructure. Sorry, as a club. I like their aura. Like, that sounds corny, but I do like Liverpool's aura. And I think, like Barcelona, the fact that they're kind of like a staple in that community in Liverpool, kind of like Barcelona is in Catalonia. They're a club with great history who have had a lot of great players. I used to watch Liverpool growing up all the time because I was a huge Fernando Torres fan. I was a huge Steven Gerrard fan. I'm a huge Luis Suarez fan. And you guys may not even know this. I think I've never said this before. I was a huge Daniel Sturridge fan growing up. I loved Daniel Sturridge, bro. I used to have him in all my FIFA 15 Ultimate Teams. He was a fucking cheat code. And I used to always do a celebration, bro. He used to go like that. I used to love Daniel Sturridge. I don't know why. I just thought he was a great player, in my opinion. I liked the way that he played. And yeah, bro, for me, watching those Liverpool teams was fun. I obviously like Van Dijk. I like Mo Salah, that are obviously playing for them right now. I like Jurgen Klopp and his style of, the style of manager that he is. So when I look at Liverpool's history, when I look at, the fact that they've been a dominant team for so long, going back to the 70s and the 80s, they've had some great players play for them. And just like their identity as a club, their fan base, are a team that never really gives up. They have that mentality where it's like, we're going to fight no matter what until the end. They had that comeback against, obviously, AC Milan in Istanbul. They had the comeback against Barca. They had the comeback against Dortmund. Some of the most famous comebacks in the history of football are by Liverpool. So for me, their aura as a club, again, sounds corny, but it's true. Their aura as a club, I like it a lot. So if it wasn't Barca that I supported, I think it would be Liverpool. The next one we have here is, do you think another Barca legend should manage Barca in the future? Iniesta, Messi, Busquets? That's a good question. If they're qualified, yes. If they're not qualified, no. Barcelona has this infatuation with hiring people that have some Barca ties, and it's really, I think it could be the downfall of this club. Really. They always feel the need to put people in these positions of power who have some sort of connection with Barca when they have no business being in that position. We're always looking for the next Pep, the next Johan Cruyff. It's really rare that those things happen. We got lucky with Pep and Johan Cruyff. Like, an example. Xavi had no business, dude. He had no business being the next Barca manager. The only reason why Xavi got hired is because he used to wear a Barca shirt and he's a Barca legend. He was managing in Qatar. That's too much of a step up. He got his opportunity, and again, I'm not saying Xavi's the worst manager of all time, but from Qatar to arguably the biggest club in football, that's too big of a step up in my opinion. And, we have to, let's hire this guy because he used to cut Johan Cruyff's grass back in 1972, so let's bring him in because he has a Barca tie. No. bring the best man available for the job. So in regards to Messi, Iniesta, and Busquets, if they get their managerial license and they coach Florian slip, and they coach in one of the they coach in a top league in Europe, and they have a good team and they're competing for big trophies, and you see a structure on that team and they're playing well, by all means bring them in. But if we see Iniesta, for example, coach at fucking, I don't know, Vissel Kobe when he retires, and they're sitting 7th in the league, and we decide to bring him in because he's a former Barca legend for no reason, just because he used to play for Barca, that's not good enough, bro. We have to go out and get the best man available for the job. It doesn't matter who they played for, what club they, what academy they played for, it does not matter, bro. Get the best man available, because Barcelona are one of the biggest clubs in Europe, and you should be able to do that. Everybody should dream of coaching and playing for this team. So again, if those guys, if Messi, Iniesta, and Busquets all of a sudden become great managers, bring him in if they're established. But don't bring me some dude who don't bring me some guy from Barca B because he has Barca ties. I don't want to see that. So again, I don't know if the next Barca manager should not have any ties to Barcelona, in my opinion. It should not have any ties. Bring in an outsider. Bring in one of the German guys, or bring in De Zerbi, or bring in Alguacil, or bring in one of those guys. But yeah, to answer your question, I got a little too passionate there, but it pisses me off because Barca always feel the need to bring someone in that has some correlation with the club or some association with the club, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough. We've seen it multiple times already. So for that reason, so yeah, I don't know. I hope that answers your question. Next up, we have, at what point in his career do you think Messi surpassed Pele as a player? As a football player, I think Messi was better than Pele the second he broke into that Barca team. As a pure footballer, Messi, in terms of talent, he's always been better than Pele. Now, on the all-time ranking, look, man, I'm not the type of person who's going to sit here and glaze Pele that much. I think he's a great player, one of the best of all time. I think he's slightly overrated, and I also think that, when you adjust for era, do I think Pele would play well in today's game? No, but at the same time, we can't judge him off that because he played when he played, and he was, again, one of the most productive players, if not the most productive player of his generation. So Pele was a great player. In terms of accolades and just all-time ranking, I think it took Messi maybe 2 years. After the 2010 season, I already thought he was better. Messi had won the Ballon d'Or, obviously had already won a treble. He hadn't won the World Cup like Pele, obviously, but when you look at those teams that Pele had when he won the World Cup with Garrincha and Tostao and all those different players, I mean, Pele had a pretty stacked team. So stacked, in fact, that in 1962, he missed basically the whole World Cup and they still ended up winning it. That's how good Pele's national teams were. Messi never had that privilege when it came to Argentina up until later on in his career, and obviously that's when he started winning those international trophies. But when it comes to a player skill set, I think Messi is surpassing the second he broke into Barca. I don't think when it comes to pure footballing ability, how good you are as a footballer, Pele wouldn't be in my top 10. I can name 10 players off the top of my head that you give them a ball and you could say they're just better in my opinion than Pele. But again, when it comes to accolades and achievements and accomplishments and team trophies won and all that stuff and goals scored, obviously it's hard to catch Pele because he has a lot of that. Obviously one of the best World Cup players of all time, a guy who scored I think over 1,000 goals. Now it was in obviously South America, but it's 1,000 goals is 1,000 goals, no matter how you slice it. But I think for me, yeah, it's kind of a long yap answer here, but again, it's kind of hard to I don't know how to answer it because I don't know if you're asking me as a football player only, as a pure footballer, or as a totality of a career. Again, as a pure footballer, just on the ball, I think the second he broke into Barcelona, his first professional game ever, I think Messi's always been the better player than Pele. As a totality of a career, I think maybe by his second or third year, he was already better, in my opinion, had a better career. But again, you could say I'm biased, but that's just my opinion at least. The next question we have here is, who's really the third best player of this generation in your opinion? That's similar to the question I just answered about Pele and Messi, because when it comes to in terms of accomplishments, you got to throw in a guy like Karim Benzema or Robert Lewandowski, guys who have won UCLs, who have been top scorers in the UCL. We know Lewandowski should have won a Ballon d'Or. Benzema won a Ballon d'Or. But again, that's accomplishments. But when it comes to footballer, who's the best footballer after Messi and Ronaldo? To me, and it's not really a debate, it's Neymar. Neymar, no player had a fear factor like Neymar besides Messi and Ronaldo. Messi and Ronaldo are aliens. They put them in a separate category. Those guys, every game they were performing, and they were the best players in the world. Neymar, to me, it's after them, it's Neymar. It's not Eden Hazard. It's not Mohamed Salah. It's not Antoine Griezmann. It's not, even though I love him, it's not Luis Suarez. It's Neymar. Neymar was a guy who could do everything on the football pitch. He could work with the ball. He could work without the ball. He could facilitate. Even when he's not scoring, he could be the best player on the pitch. He could score and be the best player on the pitch. And again, Neymar, his consistency isn't there. I get that. He wasn't consistent for long enough in his career, or wasn't great enough for long enough in his career. Even though Neymar, I mean, he's 31 now, bro. Neymar was great last year. I'll say it a bunch of times. Neymar was great before getting injured for PSG last year. He was arguably the best player in that trio, and that trio had Messi and Mbappe. So Neymar, again, his injury, Neymar when he was on the pitch, he was consistently great. But the thing is, he wasn't consistently on the pitch because he was always injured. But again, when it comes to like accomplishments in career, you throw in guys like Benzema or Lewandowski, like mostly Benzema, because Benzema, like in terms of team trophies and individual, it's stacked his resume. I mean, a guy who's won obviously 5 UCLs, has one of the greatest UCL campaigns of all time, won a Ballon d'Or. You can even throw in a guy like Luka Modric as well, who also won a Ballon d'Or and has won countless UCLs. But I think to me, when it comes to talent, which is mostly what I care about, who's the better footballer after Messi, Ronaldo in this generation, it's got to be Neymar Jr., no question about it, to me at least. Next up, we have favorite international tournament that you've ever watched or remember watching. This might sound like recency bias, and it very well could be, but I think the World Cup in 2022 is the best World Cup that I've ever watched. And obviously the World Cup is as big as it gets, so I got to pick that. I can't pick a Copa America or a Euro because it just doesn't have the same prestige. But obviously, as a lifelong Messi fan, as a lifelong Messi glazer, a person who dreamed of seeing him lift the World Cup trophy, seeing that image of him lifting the biggest trophy in sports, it's something that I dreamed about as a kid. And honestly, bro, it was one of the happiest moments of my footballing life. I can't say of my life because I've had better moments, obviously, when it comes to like me individually as a person. I can't put a football moment up there. But honestly, it's close, bro. I could easily say it's one of the top 10 moments of my entire life. Watching Messi do that, and again, it kind of brings it up a little bit for me, but I also think the 2022 World Cup in totality was a fantastic tournament. I mean, we saw some great games. I think the quarterfinal games were all great. England, France was a really good game. Brazil, Croatia was a great game. Argentina, Netherlands was an amazing game. We saw some great upsets as well. Morocco beating Spain, Morocco beating Portugal. So that was obviously very, like, there was like Cinderellas. There was like, obviously the final had 2 big dogs, so it was great to watch. If I had to pick another one, it would probably be the World Cup in 2014. Now, unlike 2022, I have that World Cup kind of leaves a bitter taste in my mouth because Messi lost the final, unlike in 2022 when he won it. And again, I just hate going back and watching that World Cup because Messi lost it. But that World Cup was amazing as well. James Rodriguez taking the world by storm. Brazil getting spanked 7-1. Spain not getting out of the group. I think I think if you're asking me the best World Cups that I've watched, 2014 and 2022, but again, to me, 2022 slightly, like, it's better to me slightly, not slightly actually, by a good amount, because Messi actually ended up winning the whole thing, which as a Messi glazer, I loved, obviously. The next one we have here is from my boy Noah, one of my most loyal subs. Shout out to you, Noah. And he asked, the worst game you've ever watched, I mean the most boring. By far and away, the UCL final in 2019 between Liverpool and Spurs. What a fucking boring game. I fell asleep watching that game. I look forward to UCL finals. Even in that game when Barca wasn't playing, and we should have been in that final. We should have been there no matter what. I'm still salty about it. But even I was still mad about that game, and I was looking forward to that final. Because I love watching big teams play in the biggest, like, and obviously the final of the biggest competition. The UCL final is as big as it gets when it comes to club football, and I'm always hyped for it, no matter who plays in it. But watching that game, now obviously I could pick some game from match week 13 in La Liga in 2011 that no one remembers because it was a boring ass game. But again, I'm talking about games that we all like kind of wanted to see and didn't live up to the hype. The 2019 UCL final was terrible, bro. Honestly, I'm not even exaggerating. One of the worst games I've ever seen. The penalty goal from Mohamed Salah and then Divock Origi scored in like the 79th minute. But that game, I mean, Spurs had no business being in that final. And Liverpool obviously took care of them like they should have. And they were always in control of that game. And it was just so boring to watch, man. It was so bad. So for me, again, I can pick some random game that no one even remembers. But if I'm talking about like games that most people have watched, I would say the 2019 UCL final to me. The next one we have here is, have you ever cried while watching a Barca game? No. I have not. I can't remember a time that I cried watching a Barca game. Now, I've been really sad. I've been kind of like depressed, not depressed, that's too strong of a word, but I've been very sad after watching Barca lose, after Roma, after Liverpool, after Bayern. I was very sad after those games. You can ask my family about like a week and a half where I couldn't even talk. I was that upset about it. I would go to school and I couldn't even, like the things that I used to do, like I wouldn't eat lunch with my friends. I would sit alone because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just so mad about those games, but never cried. I'm fortunate enough to where I've been through enough hardship in my life, honestly, and I'm saying fortunate because it's good to go through hardship in my opinion, that football games just can't make me cry. It's just impossible. Again, it's just a game. Now, I get angry. I get really angry. Even when if you guys are in the watch-alongs and I watch Barca concede, I get upset. Now, I'm not raging and throwing shit, but I get upset because, again, I want to see my team win. But cried while watching a football game. Again, I'm not saying it's bad, okay? Some people, they cry when they watch their team lose, and that's totally understandable, by the way. I totally understand that, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But me personally, it's just football can never make me cry. Watching my team lose can never make me cry. It can make me really angry, but cry, no, it's never happened to me. The next question we have here is, who's your favorite player to play for Madrid? I became a huge fan of Gareth Bale in his final few years at Madrid. I wasn't a big fan of him before, but in his final few years, I just became a huge fan of Gareth Bale. And that is because that man went out of his way any chance he got to troll the media in Madrid and troll the fans in Madrid and collect a handsome check while doing so every single week. And as a rival fan, I can only admire and respect that. As a guy who obviously loves to troll Real Madrid, sorry, I had to burp. I respect that greatly, man. I respect that greatly. And Gareth Bale, bro, we obviously all remember the infamous Wales Golf Madrid in that order flagging incident where he's literally with his Welsh national team teammates and they're holding that shit up to the camera and laughing hysterically, bro. And I remember the day after that picture came out, or the day that picture came out, sorry, all the Real Madrid fans in the comment section were so fucking heated. They were so mad, and rightfully so, by the way. They had every right to be mad. But as a Barca fan, I loved it, bro. And I remember, like, his last few years at Madrid, this guy would go out of his way. Like, when he wouldn't get called up for games, he would post pictures of him playing golf while the game was going on. A generational troll job by Gareth Bale. It was amazing to watch. I mean, that guy, he had the privilege, I'm saying it because it is a privilege, he had the privilege of playing for Real Madrid, a club where like little kids and players dream of playing for that team. And he's on the team, and he's saying that golf is higher on the totem pole for him than his fucking club team, which is Real Madrid. And again, as a rival fan, I became a huge fan of Gareth Bale after that. It has nothing to do with what he did on the pitch, because on the pitch, Gareth Bale is really not my favorite player. But off the pitch, as much as you can like a player who scored a winner against your team in a cup final, which Gareth Bale did do in the Copa del Rey final in 2014, that's how much I like Gareth Bale. The next question we have here is a great question. Out of the two finals, which one was your favorite between 09 and 2011 against the greatest team of all time? Obviously, 09 was in Rome, 2011 was in Wembley. I was fortunate enough to be old enough to watch both of those games. I remember them very vividly. Now, in 09, I was about 8 years old. In 2011, I was a little bit older, 10 years old, actually. And for me, both of them were some of the greatest moments, actually the two greatest moments you could argue that I had watching football. Watching my team win the UCL was amazing, was an amazing feeling. And both of those finals, we thoroughly dominated Man United. In 09, that team had Ronaldo. In 2011, they didn't have Ronaldo, but they still had Wayne Rooney and Giggs. And, you know, they had that great core of players that had won the UCL in 2008, just without Ronaldo. I think 09... just the satisfaction of seeing Messi win the treble and seeing Barca win the treble for the first time in the history and watching Pep Guardiola do that in his first year as manager was amazing. But the performance in and of itself, 2011 is the greatest performance in the Champions League final in the history of football. And watching that Barca team on that day, like that to me is the perfect stamp on the greatest team of all time. I think Barca throughout those 4 years with Pep are by far and away the best team of all time. But obviously, 09 had better accomplishments because that team won a treble. And in 2011, they only won a double because they lost the final, obviously, in the Copa del Rey to Madrid because of that Ronaldo header. But in terms of like football, that final in 2011 is the most satisfying game I've ever watched as a Barca fan. It was amazing to watch. Watching my team on that day play a really, really good Man United team around the park, make it look like I always say this, and I believe it's true, Man United could have had 13 players on the pitch that day. It would not have changed the outcome of that game. That's how far and away Barca were superior to every other team in Europe. So for me, again, when it comes to like the game in and of itself, 2011 is the greatest game that I have ever experienced as a fan of this club. The next one we have here is best 11 ever, including Barcelona and Real Madrid. Let's do this, okay? That's a good question. In goal, I would have Iker Casillas. At right back, I would have the scumbag, Dani Alves. I hate him as a person now, but, you know, he was a great player, so I got to put him in there, even though I didn't want to, but I'm going to put him in there because, you know, as a player, he deserves to be in there. Two center backs, I would have Sergio Ramos, Alves, and then as the other center back, I would have Piqué. Left back, obviously, Marcelo, no question about it. As the pivot, you would have Busquets. The two in front of him, I would have Xavi and Iniesta, not Kroos and Modric. Xavi and Iniesta are better. You can argue with your mom. She cares more than me. It's not even close in my opinion. Left wing, Ronaldo. Right wing, Messi. Striker, you could pick R9. You could pick Stoichkov. You could pick Suarez. And I'm going to pick Luis Suarez. I think he's the best striker in the history of the game, in my opinion. You could obviously pick Benzema as well. I forgot Benzema. You could even pick Lewandowski if you want to, because obviously he's playing for Barca now. But I'm going to pick Luis Suarez because, to me, he's the best striker that I've ever seen. The next question we have here is, will Lamine Yamal win the Ballon d'Or someday? 100% in my opinion. I think Lamine Yamal's ceiling is top 5 player of all time. That's how good he is. I mean, we're seeing a kid who's 16 years old and has the football maturity of a 25-year-old. He has the decision-making of a 25-year-old, the guy who's been in pro football, playing pro like on the top level for 10 years at this point. You can clip this and they can meme me for it in 30 years maybe. But I think Lamine Yamal, his ceiling is, I think he'll be a 4-time Ballon d'Or winner. If he reaches his potential, he'll win multiple Ballon d'Ors, and I'll put the cap at maybe he can win 5. I think that's how good he is. Now I know it's hard to win 5 Ballon d'Ors. Messi and Ronaldo kind of fucked up our perception of how hard it is to win a Ballon d'Or. But I think Lamine Yamal could definitely do it. I have the utmost trust in that kid to, you know, be one of the best I've ever seen. The next one we have here is from Juan. At what point would you ever take footballing seriously and do it as a career like Mark Goldbridge? That's a good question, bro. I feel like, as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep, grinding and doing this because I love doing it, bro. I do this because I really love it. I love talking about football. I love building a community around this space. It's really one of my passions, bro. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And the fact that I can come on here and I can have 100 people submit questions and they want me to answer about a sport that I love so much that I've been watching since I've had a consciousness, since I've been conscious, it's amazing, bro. So for me, as long as you guys keep watching and I can keep growing this platform and I can, obviously it comes down to money at the end of the day. I mean, I hate to say it, but it does come down to money. And if I can make a living off this, if I can make a stable living, if I can take care of myself, take care of the people that I love, and I can keep doing this for a long time, then I will do this for the rest of my life because that's how much I love it. I'm not sure if I'll be as big as Mark Goldbridge, even though I have I have high expectations for myself and I have goals that I want to achieve. And trust me, I don't doubt myself for a second, and I think I can become that or even bigger than Mark Goldbridge. It's gonna take some time, obviously, because everything great takes time and you gotta build towards it. But I feel like it comes down to how fast I grow, how many people are, as time goes on, are people still gonna be interested in what I have to say? And if the answer to that is yes, then I will do this for the rest of my life, hopefully. And the last question we have here is, what's your opinion on letting go of Fati, Ferran, and Felix? And realistically speaking, who would you try and sign on that left wing position? I think my ideal signing for that left wing position would be Rafael Leao. I think he provides something that Barca need right now, a guy who can play make it and who can also shoot. He has a great shot on him. He hasn't been the best this season, but he's been really, really good in my opinion for that Milan team. And in terms of letting go of Fati, Ferran, and Felix, I don't think, if the reports are true that Atletico Madrid won 60 to 70 million for Joao Felix, you can go ahead and keep him. No fucking chance Barca should pay that for Joao Felix because he's been super inconsistent and there's no guarantee he's going to be worth that money. So don't even risk it. Do not spend that money in Joao Felix. You can go find another player in the margins who's going to give you equal production. So I would not want to keep Joao Felix. Ansu Fati is set to come back. Now Ansu's dealt with injuries at Brighton this year, but I do think that Ansu Fati has the potential again to be a great player. He just, injuries at Barca and just lack of playing time, and just when he did play, just being really, his decision making needs working. He needs to work on his decision making and be less selfish, in my opinion, if Fati wants to strive for Barcelona. So I want to see him come back and maybe he can compete for that position, but the fact, he shouldn't just come back and we give him that position because he hasn't earned that yet. And in terms of Ferran Torres, I don't want to let go of Ferran. I think this year, before he got injured, he was proving to be one of our most productive and best players, honestly. And a guy who, every time he's out there, I like what I see because he tries his hardest. And that, to me, is the most important thing. Try your hardest, honestly. I mean, again, it's pro football, so you got to win, but at least Ferran is trying. When he goes out there, he's giving it all for the badge, and he's fighting hard, and he's trying to score goals, and he's trying to make things happen. So I would keep Ferran. I'd bring in Fati and let him compete for that position. I would bring in Rafael Leao realistically as a signing. And in terms of Joao Felix, if they want, if Atletico wants 10 to 20 million, I mean, I would say pay that, but still I'd be kind of reluctant to pay that much money. But 60 to 70, let him go. I mean, there's no need to have him back next year because, again, he hasn't been amazing. And that, guys, is the end of the video. This video is going to be pretty long because I tried to get to as many as possible. If I cannot get to your question, then again, I apologize, but this was really fun, bro. I definitely want to do a part 2. And if you guys want to see a part 2, please let me know in the comment section. Look out for the community tab post, by the way, because that's where I'm announcing these. When I do hot takes and these things, look out for my community tab because that's always where I post that. And yeah, man, thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.